We are Jeanne d'Arc Credit Union, located in Lowell, Massachusetts, about 25 miles north of Boston. We are the fourth oldest credit union in the country. We will be 100 years old in 2012.
It's a community-based credit union that was started for the immigrants, for the Mill City workers here in the city of Lowell. The immigrants were Greek, French, Irish, all different backgrounds.
And they organized themselves through the help of some Canadians to start something called a credit union, which was a new concept in America at that time. And so today, 98 years later, we're the fourth oldest credit union in the United States.
Currently, we sit at $850 million in assets with about 55,000 members. We have 10 branches, including 6 full-service branches and 4 high school branches. Several years ago, we were a company that was, I would say, average, maybe a little bit below average in terms of long-term thinking and planning. We tended to run around like chickens with our heads cut off at some point in terms of projects we were attacking.
We would have a lot of projects on our list, but we never got them all done. And I think that was kind of frustrating for the people here because we didn't have any type of prioritization.
We didn't really know what the key focus was. We had a lot of teamwork within teams, but there was not a lot of teamwork within divisions. And there wasn't that level of accountability that was needed in order to make it a successful organization.
Well, I think one of the things that really needed to be addressed was a sense of poor communication. Even though we planned every year for the things that we were going to do, I don't think we always accomplished everything that we set out to do.
In 2003, we held the planning session, and we all walked out of there saying we want to be $1 billion by 2008, have 60,000 members, and just continue to grow. Well, once we walked out of the planning session, we had no focus on how we were going to do that. It was a great idea, but no one really knew how we were going to get there. And we didn't even talk about it after that.
I feel like in those days, employees were coming to work and that's all they were doing. They came to work really task-oriented, didn't feel like they were part of the company, didn't feel like they had really input into the direction of the company.
And it lacked that centralized purpose and goal and focus of an organization that it should have. And so it lacked its true north. It lacked its compass point on where it was going and how to get there.
When the new CEO came in, I think a lot of us were very excited, a little skeptical, didn't know what to expect.
I think Mark was going to bring fresh ideas. I think there was a hope among everybody that things would begin to change.
We were at a point where his executive team realized there were problems going on here, and we were looking for a solution or a tool because we all wanted to get better as individuals, as managers, as leaders, and as a company.
He realized that we had to put some plans in place, and I believe one of the plans that really helped was Connections.
At the beginning of the Connections process, it was quite an intimidating process, I think, at the beginning. There was a lot of work that needed to be put into it, and it was stepping into the unknown.
We were all very overwhelmed. We saw the dialogue books, the agendas, we saw the monthly schedules, and we were all like, sort of pulling our hair out.
And I think, too, we also felt like, oh, more work. How are we going to be able to manage this along with everything else that we do, not realizing that it was a management tool.
Many of us thought there were going to be more and more meetings and we would eventually abandon it and we'd be back in the same old position.
So a moment of truth really came for me when I had a meeting with Mark, our CEO, and asked him, you know, is this a process that is going to last? Are we going to continue doing this? And he showed great enthusiasm and support for the whole Connections process and what it could do for the organization.
What Connections allowed us to do was really focus and determine and analyze what our purpose is, and then how does that flow through the organization and all the decisions that we make. And so our starting point in that process was determining our purpose. And out of that, it became apparent what our core values are, what our vision is, and then again, it just flowed down to everything that we wanted to do as an organization. So it gave us the tools and the framework and the ability to take the concepts we had and put them into reality.
The parts of the connection process that I really found beneficial to the organization was, number one, the organization connections, first of all. It really provided that focus, it provided that alignment within the organization. If it wasn't part of the organizational focus, then it wasn't something that we were working on.
One of the things that I really like about Connections is the individual dialogues. This allows me to talk with my direct reports, and I have 4 direct reports, and I get an up-to-date picture of exactly what they're working on, exactly what some of the issues that they're facing.
To me, the dialogues cleaned up a lot of our problems. It helps my relationship with my boss flourish, as well as my relationship with my direct reports. We use it all the way from the CEO down to our part-time tellers. So every person participates in the dialogue process. It makes them feel like they're part of the team because each of them gets 1 hour undivided with their boss on a monthly basis. And I think there's a nice feeling for employees to know that they have that undivided time to talk about issues, to talk about projects, to talk about things that they're working on and are important to them.
Another aspect of Connections is the department connections. And what's great about the department connections is you have teams getting together on a monthly basis to discuss what's going on, to hear what's happening at the organizational level, but also to hear what's happening at their individual level. And this really puts a good sense of teamwork within the department and within the organization to make sure that they're working on the proper projects in order to help make it successful.
The best part of Connections for me would be the metrics, measuring the numbers and seeing those improve over time. It's really a great feeling to really see that we're hitting our goals and the numbers that we've set, our threshold, target, and stretch.
I think in other things, I'd like the monthly meetings. I feel that I can speak very freely. I think everyone in the room trusts one another. At this point, they trust one another, not so much in the past. And we can say what we think, whether we think this project is worthy or not of being an organizational project, and no one takes offense, which is a big change.
So if you feel that you can't have capacity this month to sit on a project, or your team is at full capacity, you can actually say, you know, enough, I can't do anymore. But I don't think it's ever come to that. I think we all find a way to get projects done.
So figuring out what's important, figuring out what we're not going to do was critical. And a lot of what people, especially employees, point back to is the fact that we communicate better, they know what's important, and they're involved in coming up with solutions to getting things done.
Just in the last 2 years that we've actually started Connections and started focusing, we've grown deposits by 31%. We went from $600 million when he started, we're now over $860 million in deposits. Membership when he started was about 46,000 or so, we're over 54,000 now.
We are getting more projects done, both at an organizational level and a department level, than we ever have before. From a company standpoint, we are gaining market share. Although the economy has struggled over the past couple of years, we've had actually 2 pretty good years in terms of growth.
I think we've focused in on things, we have a plan, we've changed our logo, our new building, and I think it just makes such a statement in the community. You know, we're here, we want you to notice us, and we want you to do business with us. And I think that we're saying that every single day.
You know, I'm a long-term employee, I've been here 24 years. And you know, you become stagnant, people get in the same old, but you know, myself, other people who've been here longer than me, you can see that they're really excited to be part of this organization because we're going places. And so we're excited. I think there's a new feeling, there's a new step when you walk through the doors of any of the credit union offices. I think you feel it, and it's really exciting.